So, in the last module we have discussed about the cell material interaction, and in the cell material interaction one of the things that I have mentioned is that when a biological cell interacts with a biomaterial substrate. So, you have an eukaryotic cell, and eukaryotic cell has a well defined nucleus, and then you have a cell surface receptors which interacts with the proteins absorbed on a material substrates. And then after that I mentioned that once the cell adheres on a material which is compatible in nature, which is compatible at the cellular level, then cell sends out the signaling molecules, and these signaling molecules essentially communicate with these cells in the neighborhood, and so that these cells now would come and trying to adhere and trying to interact with the protein molecules absorbed in a material substrate in the same way that it has that cell number 1 has done. And if this is cell number 2, then this cell number 2 also would do in the same way. So, this essentially means that cell signaling is the cell signaling is essential as a communication pathway, and therefore, there is a need to understand that how the cell communication take place in different manner. So, cell communication is essentially a very represents a very complex cellular network by which a cell conveys certain information to its cell in the neighborhood, to another cell in the neighborhood, so that it will convey certain instructions for the target cell to follow further, and these instructions are generated from the source cell. So, here it is source cell and this is the target cell, and this target cell after receiving these particular instructions which are being conveyed through the cell signaling proteins. So, this is the cell signaling molecules or soluble proteins. So, this then they will this target cell will perform certain desired function. Now, what is the functions that we are talking about, and these functions are essentially cell fate processes. Now, each of the cell fate processes may be mentioned very briefly in some of the earlier modules. Replication means, so mother cell will give rise to 2 daughter cells and so on, so 1 to 2, 2 to 4. Differentiation, the word differentiation means differential gene expression, that means a cell will be transformed to a more mature cell type. Cell death means certain signaling molecules are removed or certain signaling process are removed from the cellular microenvironment, so that cell can undergo programmed cell death as well as necrosis, that is that accidental cell death. Cell motion means a cell would kind of walk or crawl on a material substrate, and this is the cell migration. Cell adhesion means that is the formation of focal adhesion complexes or focal adhesion points, which is nothing but a combination of a few cell surface receptor integrin protein as well as absorbed protein assembly protein complexes. So, in a way cell communication is essential to coordinate the cellular activities, and this can take place in primarily by 3 ways. One is that secretion of soluble signals, and these signals are known as cytokines when these are the growth factors that cause proliferation or differentiation, or chemokines that induce cell migration itself. And what are the 3 type of soluble proteins? One is that autocrine, that is that cell signals to itself. Paracrine means cell signals to neighboring cells by diffusion, and endocrine like cell secretes growth factor, and these growth factors are transported by bloodstream into the target cell. Now, this growth factor is one of the important thing in cell biology, and they are defined as a small proteins that are of the order of 50 to 20 kilodalton in size, and 1 dalton is equivalent to the weight of 1 hydrogen atom. And these growth factors essentially stimulate the cell growth, and that is by increasing cell mass by promoting protein synthesis or inhibiting their degradation. Now, this particular table shows a few growth factors or lists a few growth factors, but in actually cell biology there are a large number of growth factors which are important, but out of that in the context of biomaterials research, that some of the growth factors which are important is this fibroblast growth factor, that is FGF, which essentially plays a role in skeletal and nervous system development. Then you have this hepatocyte growth factor, and also that another growth factor which is important in biomaterials research, that is the TGF, that is the transforming growth factor beta, and this is a number of these represent structurally related and secreted proteins. And what is the role of TGF beta? The TGF beta essentially regulate proliferation and differentiation as well as extracellular matrix production, etc. So, as a beginner or as a researcher in the biomaterials field, I would recommend you want to remember at least 2 or 3 growth factors, which would include FGF, that is fibroblast growth factor, and another one is called transforming growth factor beta, that is TGF beta. So, TGF beta, as I said, that it regulates cell growth and differentiation. Then you have that insulin growth factor, that is the third one which is important, and that is stimulates differentiation, stimulates proliferation differentiation in some of the specific cell types. Now, coming to the different ways that cell signaling process can take place. So, one of the ways is the contact dependent. So, this is particularly true through gap junctions. So, this is your signaling cell or source cell, and this is your target cell. So, and this is the membrane bound signal proteins which are being which are linked to the cell surface receptors for the target cell. Now, paracrine signaling means that is from one of the source cell, suppose you have that now a few target cells in the neighborhood. So, signaling cell will release that signal molecules or local mediators, and then they will be transported to all the target cells by the process of diffusion. Third one is the synaptic signaling, that is more relevant for these neurons, and this in case of neurons you have the synapse and then you have the target cell here. So, it is very easy for this neurotransmitter to be attached to that cell surface receptors of the target cell itself. Fourth one is endocrine signaling. As mentioned before, endocrine signaling means that you have one of the source cell and these signaling molecules are released to the bloodstream. So, it is transported through the bloodstream to the couple of target cells here. And however, in all these cases you can see that commonality is that how the signaling molecule gets hooked or gets attached to the cell surface receptors of the target cell. The other one which is more important for this signaling via gap junctions, and that is more useful for the cell which are the tightly spaced cells, like in a endothelium or endothelial cells or epithelium in the epithelia. These cells, they are very tightly spaced cells, and there the signaling molecules can simply transported from one cell to another cell via the gap junctions here. Now, how to find out that what is the intracellular fluxes? Intracellular fluxes is essentially means that how many signaling molecules can pass from one source cell to one target cell per unit time. And these fluxes, if it is driven by purely diffusion related, so therefore fixed 2 laws are important, and fixed 2 laws, the first law essentially tells that flux is equal to minus d, d is the diffusion coefficient, del C upon del x. So, del C upon del x is the concentration gradient. So, if you have the more number of signaling molecules in the source cell, so if you have a source cell here which is S, and if you have a target cell here and the target cell has a different nucleus, let us say. So, from source cell to target cell, if the signaling molecules is diffusing, and suppose you have a large number of signaling molecules here in the source cell. So, certainly there is a concentration gradient between the source cell and target cell. So, therefore, diffusion will be driven by the Fick's first law, and Fick's first law is very common in the field of science, and which is essentially the flux of that signaling molecule is equal to minus d, capital D is the diffusivity or diffusion coefficient multiplied by or the concentration gradient or change of concentration in the spatial in x direction or in the spaces. So, if you follow this simple equation, then you can find out that in this particular case, when the source cell has a signaling concentration is C1 and C1, and then target cell has a signaling concentration which is C2, then you can find out that J is equal to 4 d upon pi d. So, d is your diffusivity and small d is your diameter of the gap junction through which signaling molecules are diffusing away from the source cell to the target cell, multiplied by C1 minus C2. So, C1 minus C2, if you take for example is 100 micromolar, and if you take a simple diffusivity values of 10 to the power minus 5 centimeters per second. So, from the simple equation you can estimate that a flux of 2.4 or let us say 10 to the power 5 orders 10 to the 5 molecules per pore per second of flux that will be transported. So, what I am saying is that, for example, if you take a very single pore here through which signaling molecule with a concentration C1 at the source cell is diffusing to the concentration C2 at the target cell. So, what the simple estimate based on the Fick's first law tells you that 10 to the power 5 molecules per pore per second that will be transported from source cell to target cell. Now, you have to now imagine that a typically cell surface has a large number of pores through which the signaling molecules can easily pass from one cell to another cell. And this number of pores, suppose if it is 100 pores per cells, then flux will be 2 into 10 to the power 7. So, total flux in that case it is 10 to the power 7, and these 10 to the power 7 cells. So, 10 to the power 7 molecules per second that will be transported between these two cells, between source cell and target cells. Now, this very simple estimate also tells you that the huge number of traffic or huge traffic of the signaling molecules will pass from one source cell to one target cell. So, these kind of numbers are important, so that you can understand that how signaling molecules or how signaling processes can influence the way cells will function in its neighborhood. Okay. Now, autocrine signaling essentially tells you that this is your source cell and this is your target cell. So, a single signaling cell receives a very weak autocrine signaling. So, this is the autocrine signaling, and then a group of identical signaling cells, like when source cell and target cell, this is central is your source cell and all in the periphery are your target cells. Now, if all the cell types are the same, both the source and target cell, then much higher concentration of the signaling molecules can pass through from one source cell to all the target cell in the neighborhood, and therefore, it encourages, that is the bottom line, it encourages the cells to respond more coordinately as a group. So, this kind of scenario is biologically much more relevant, and that is why it has been mentioned here that a group of similar type of cells, when they will signal to each other, and therefore, their coordinated action will be much likely to take place more easily than a source when the source cells and target cells are of different cell types. Now, other things which is important and which may require some discussion at this stage is that is that you have a signaling cell or source cell and you have a target cell here. Now, two questions that we need to address: how far or what is the critical distance between signaling cell and target cell so that target cell T cell, what I abbreviated as target cell, will receive a threshold number of signaling molecules So, that is the one thing, that what is the critical distance. So, this is the D critical which we are considering here. Another important question that we have to address, that what is the signaling molecule density at source cell so that it reaches with acceptable density at target cell. Let me first explain physically what this question means. This question means, so you have two cells, one is a source cell and one is a target cell. Then certainly that source cell has a larger concentration of signaling molecule C1 and target cell has another different concentration which is essentially lower concentration in C2. So, the question that we are trying to address is that what is the D critical value, so that this concentration Km at the target cell of that specific signaling molecule is still sufficient to activate certain cellular fate processes. I repeat what I said, that let us hypothetically take two cells, one is the source cell and what is the target cell. So, this source and target cell cannot be separated by significantly large distance, so that even if the diffusion process is activated and then there is a certain number of signaling molecules would be able to reach the target cell, but it may be lower than the critical concentration of signaling molecules which is required by the target cell to activate certain signal transduction mechanism within the target cell or to activate certain cellular fate processes within the target cell. So, therefore, this entire process is biophysically possible if and only if that signaling cell and target cell are at a critical distance, and also there should be large enough concentration gradient that should be established or that should be set up between the signaling cell and target cell, so that the value of Km should be above the threshold level of the sensitivity of the target cell towards that specific signaling molecule type. So, that Km also depends on the type of signaling molecule, that is the threshold concentration threshold concentration for a specific signaling molecules which would be just sufficient to activate certain signal transduction processes or to activate certain cell fate processes in a target cell. So, these two things need to be critically considered while analyzing that how a paracrine signal can activate certain signal transduction process in a target cell. So, summarizing this signaling mechanism again, that Fick's first law essentially provides a basis for the cell signaling processes in a group of cells, and while Fick's first law tells us that this is, I repeat again, that Fick's first law essentially tells you that J is equal to minus d del C upon del x. So, minus d, capital D is the diffusivity of that particular signaling molecule in a typical cell culture medium, capital J is the flux of the signaling molecule per second, del C upon del x is the signaling molecule concentration gradient which is set up between the signaling cell and the target cell. And the two questions I have tried to address in this particular slide, the question number 1 is, what is the minimum distance between the signaling cell and target cell, so that the signaling molecules would be diffused to the target cell and the concentration at the target cell of that specific signaling molecule should be more than Km, where Km is the threshold concentration of that specific type of signaling molecule which would be sufficient to cause certain signal transduction mechanism in the target cell itself. So, I hope I have clarified these two things. So, some of the things that has been mentioned in this slide is that for a given cell size, let us say of a typical cell size of 10 to 25 micron, low concentration of the signaling molecules, sometimes greater than 1000 molecules, it is difficult for a cell to sense a concentration difference across the cell body. However, a cell can extend podia. So, what are the different podia? One is the kind of filopodia, another can be lamellopodia. So, these are like cellular structures which also help the cells in the cell migration process to travel the distance over which a concentration gradient is set up. So, for example, from here the cell filopodia or lamellopodia can extend just to see, or from here the cell target cell can extend that filopodia, lamellopodia. So, these are like cellular structures to sense this particular little bit higher range of signaling molecule concentration, simply because at the cell surface maybe the signaling molecule concentration is low enough, so that signal transduction process is unable to be activated. So, the highest concentration of a signaling molecule is always found at the signaling cell surface or the source cell surface, and is inversely proportional to the with the distance of from a signaling cell towards the target cell. And a reasonable estimate for the signal propagation distance is the characteristic distance at which the signal strength is half of its maximum. Signal strength means here the signaling molecule concentration at the source cell. As you see that it asymptotically decreases as you go from source cell to the target cell. So, anytime I mention the signal strength, that means that is the signaling molecule concentration at that particular cell. And time constant of typically the signaling process is 20 minutes. So, this is essentially the time constant comes from a typical electrical engineering circuit concentration. In the cell signaling, as I said before, that it also represents a complex communication network between a source cell and target cell. So, therefore, this kind of network also can be following the electrical engineering principle can be solved to get a time constant which is of 20 minutes, and a maximum distance in that cell signaling to effectively transfer is about 200 micron. So, what it means is that if a signaling cell and target cell is separated by a distance of 500 micron, then the concentration of the signaling molecule at the target cell will be significantly weak enough not to cause any change in their cell fate or cell functionality or cell fate processes of the target cell. However, since the critical distance, as I said, is 200 micron, critical estimate suggests is 200 micron. If a target cell is located within or is separated from the signaling cell by a distance of 100 micron, which is less than the 200 micron, then target cell will receive, or the signal strength at the target cell will be significant enough for the signal transduction processes to take place in the target cell. I hope I have explained enough physical significance or physical implication of this number. So, the other things that has been mentioned in this slide is that this distance increases proportionally with secretion rate. What distance I am talking about? That is the maximum distance which is taken as 200 micron, and inversely with the dissociation constant Kd. So, dissociation constant means that once the signal molecule is generated, it is being attached to the cell surface receptors of the target cell. Now, if it is dissociated from that, the signaling process would be little weak. Now, to summarize only up to this part of what I mentioned here, that the signaling molecule once it is done by the gap junction, not by this kind of autocrine signaling, then what we have estimated that 10 to the power 5 or 10 to the power 7 molecules per second signaling molecules are generated from source cell to target cell. But when signaling molecules are further apart, then this number may not be correct. So, this is correct 10 to the power 7 number of molecules per second is more for tightly spaced cells, not like when two cells are physically separated by certain specific distance. Second thing I have mentioned in this slide, that one can estimate or one can arrive at this 10 to the power 7 molecules per second number from the fundamental Fick's first law, which states as J is equal to capital minus capital D del C upon del X. Third thing I have mentioned that there is something called critical distance of separation between signaling cell and target cell, and there is something called threshold signal strength at the target cell. Now, threshold signal strength can be some few thousand molecules per second here, and that critical distance of separation can be somewhere around 200 micron. Anything larger than the separation distance more than 200 micron, then target cell will not receive critical number of signaling molecules, so that signal transduction process will not be activated in the target cell. So, I will come back to this discussion further in the next module.